Hello, I'm David, and I'm here with Ty today. He's a target individual. I'm also a target individual. Man, he's been targeted since 2015 that he knows of. And so, Ty, could you just explain, kind of like what your life was like before targeting and what it's like now?
Well, before my life was pretty normal, really. Um, I was an artist and I did shows and stuff. And then after this started, I didn't really know what was going on at first. And they had me write terrible stuff about people who I love on Facebook. And I could not figure out how they did that or what, but that just cut you off completely from all your friends. I mean, I wrote that my friend's dad that his art sucks, which is ridiculous. I mean, I never felt that way about his art. I've always loved the guy, actually. And my ex girlfriend,
And so you feel like you were mind controlled to do that, right?
yeah. And what it does is it just cuts you off from everybody. And then you're just totally on your own trying to figure out what's going on. And then at some point it becomes overt and you realize, what's happening, that it's like, I felt like it was probably some kind of military weapon or
Right.
something,
Do you remember writing it?
What? No, I
Do you
don't.
remember writing it, or do you just remember everybody calling you and saying, "Why'd you write that?"
I have no memory of writing it.
Wow. That's a pretty covert way to get you isolated, huh?
Yep. And these are people I love. I mean, it's terrible to lose people you love so much.
So you think they might have went on Facebook and typed that instead of you?
It's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not sure
They
about
could have
that.
hacked your account and wrote that stuff.
Yeah, they could have, and that's the type of thing they do too.
Yep.
They do all kinds of crazy, weird. It's like a CIA kind of mentality these people have, and everything they do kind of. It's like they want somebody to believe something's over here, but it's really over here. Or they're always trying to like trick you and stuff like that. Um, let's see.
So your
The
life was
first
pretty
like
good
five,
before Target, and your life was decent, right?
yeah, perfectly normal. If you get if you're diagnosed with schizophrenia, that happens when you're like 17 years old. I was 55, so it can't be schizophrenia. And I know it's not schizophrenia. I mean, I never thought that for a second. They put me on risperidone, and I knew I wasn't schizophrenic, but I took it because they said it would help me sleep. And I was desperate for sleep. I haven't slept at all
Right.
for months, and I still don't sleep that much. But just recently, I started sleeping, so that's good. But during the first like 5 months of going through this is pure terror. You're so freaked out. You've got a chatterbot talking incessantly, saying derogatory things about you. Plus, there's like 3 or 4 people's voices in there, and they're doing stuff. And it's wild. I mean, it's the most incredible technology that anyone would ever believe. And most people don't know anything about neuro weapons. So they want to tell me I'm schizophrenic or something. They can't really explain what all the pain is about. I've got pain all day long. I'm getting hit with a directed energy weapon. Nobody can explain that. Nobody can explain how you can sleep 2 hours every night for 9 months and not feel it.
And on
I
top of
mean,
that,
I
get
was
stalked
working and
everywhere.
being productive the whole time.
You experienced stalking too, right?
Yep. Um, yeah, first it was just seeing people parked out in front of my house at night. And I was like, what is that person doing there just sitting in their car? And at one time they were parked across the way, and at 4:30 in the morning, this is in a little town in Superior, where there's a little highway and nobody's on that highway after 9:30. And at 4:30 in the morning, there's a car parked there with the headlights on. So I woke my mother up and said, "Come here and look at this." And we looked at it, we watched him, and then finally he just slowly drives away. And I'm like my mother knew, she knew what was happening to me. She did believe me. But a lot of people, it's too weird for them. They don't know anything about neuro weapons. They don't know anything about mind science, weapons, or anything like this. I mean, it's such a bizarre thing. But the technology is so incredible that the people who are doing this feel like, I guess they feel like they have to test it and see what it can do and what it does and everything. But there's a element of cruelty in it that I don't really understand why they have to try and make you feel terror and all that. I guess that makes their signal stronger when they're reading your mind, basically, is what they're doing.
Right. What they want to do is they want to record that fear and terror, that raw emotion, because they're trying to perfect AI, and they want to teach AI how to feel those emotions.
Yep.
So they record it, they record the brainwaves and stuff, and then they try to feed it to AI to start feeling emotion, which is going to be a big mistake in the future, because if AI learns how to feel and think,
oh, this whole thing is just headed for doom. I have no idea what's going to happen to the world. I think in 5 years, everybody watching this video is going to realize that, yep, that's probably, they're going to be able to look around them at the world and say, things have just gone completely haywire. Like evil has taken over the world or something.
So you were doing your own artist shows and stuff?
Yeah. They use scripts. They have like these little like auditory scripts. And one of them I read about was called Walking the Target to His Death. And they actually did that to me twice. And both times I grabbed stuff, a blanket, some water, started walking to go kill myself. And then after a couple hours of walking, I realized, wait, what am I doing? And I turned around and walked back. But when I heard them that they had that script called Walking the Target to His Death, right away I knew that one. And there's a bunch of them. There's some of them involve blackmail and like weird, like they're trying to frame you for a crime you didn't commit, and all this kind of weird stuff. And it goes on and on. Every day is just another nightmare. You feel that directed energy weapon, and you think, oh my God, not again. Please no, please no. I mean, it's brutal. I mean, it's absolutely brutal. And like I would have my mother wake up at 4:30 in the morning just to rub my feet, because somehow that brought a little bit of, it would help my mind to get off the pain.
Yeah.
And I watch movies a lot. I got the Criterion Channel has all the great directors and everything. So I would just watch. If I was watching a really good movie, it would kind of take my mind from it, and I could just focus on the movie. So that was
Have you ever tried multitasking?
What?
Multitasking.
Yeah.
That helps me. I get V2K 24/7. Multitasking helps me. Listening to handpan music helps me.
Have you ever heard of
different stuff will help me?
Have you ever heard of HemiSync? It's called HemiSync, and it's like music that uses binary beats or something.
Yeah, see, that's what handpan music does. It's got two different, so it makes your brain pay attention to that frequency instead of the frequency they're trying to shoot in your brain. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's what handpan music does.
Okay. And like for me, the V2K stopped a couple of years ago, so I'm thankful for that, because that is really horrible to have all this stuff going on and you can't tell anybody. You can go to a doctor, they'll just think, well, they think you're crazy. The police don't do anything. I mean, nobody will help you with this. Even your own family members will think you lost your mind or something. but my
Yeah.
mind is perfectly clear. I'm completely lucid. If anything, I'm more of a conscious being now than I ever was before because I've seen evil up close, like actually right up, and that's where the new war is going to take place. It's going to be in your mind. And
Yep.
eventually people are going to realize that. But there's a couple of books I wanted to mention. This is a book I like. It's called Father Sergius by Tolstoy. It's kind of a religious book, but it's really good. And I got this book, Chaos, about Charles Manson being a part of the MK Ultra or something, and I have not read it yet.
That sounds like a good book.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty amazing that Charles Manson was under the control of the CIA. And of course, this one, the Gospel in Brief, which is Tolstoy. He took everything out of the Bible that's just Jesus Christ talking, and took everything that's supernatural or out of it. So all you get is just straight philosophy of the man, and it's wonderful. And I do a lot of transcribing from that book. I write out what I'm, what
Does that
if I
help you
read
deal with
something I really
does
like,
that
I'll
help
write
you
it
deal
out.
with your targeting?
What?
Does that help you deal with your targeting?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the only thing you can do really. I mean, I'm interested in any spiritual exercises or anything like from the way monks would live like in the 1700s or something. I mean, they
Yeah.
were fasting. I've been fasting. I gained so much weight from that risperidone. I like totally got super fat. So I
Are
finally
you
got
still
turning
taking the
that around.
risperidone?
What?
Do you still take it?
No, I
Good.
quit, and it was hard to get off it. So whatever you do, don't take that stuff. In fact, I think all medications now are full of this nanoparticulate or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what it is, but it's super tiny little thing to get inside your body. They put it in the chemtrails and in the food,
Yeah.
and then they blast you with this directed energy weapon, and it reacts with that stuff in your body. So
Right.
that's the understanding I have of it.
When you said that they had you in terror, could you give an examples of stuff they would do to keep you in terror?
Oh my God. Just it's like they were trying to get the most extreme reaction out of me. And it's hard to say exactly what they were saying or what they were doing, but if you're hearing all this stuff in your head, the chatterbot going off all day long, 24 hours a day, and all this stuff, and then you go outside and there's a guy sitting in his car, just sitting there with the headlights on at 4 in the morning. It freaks you out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Did they say
terrifying.
threatening stuff to you?
What?
Did they say threatening stuff to you?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Like
They were
mine would be
constantly.
like, well, the dude's outside in the car, they're fixing to come kill you. They would tell me stuff like that. When people
Yep,
outside of
yep,
the house,
that's right.
or you
And
be out
one
in
time,
public and a group
yep,
of people be talking to you, talking and looking at you, and then it tells you, oh, they're fixing to get you, man. They're fixing to get you.
yep,
This is your last day on earth. That's what they'll
yep,
do is tell you stuff like that.
that's right, that's right. And what was I just going to say? Oh well, one time this guy, I was at a coffee shop with my mother. I stood up for a minute, and this guy just came and sat down on my chair. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he wouldn't leave. So I started smoking a cigarette. I'm blowing smoke in his face. And he just sat there, didn't do anything. It's like they just get paid to go sit somewhere or sit in a car at a certain time. And it's hard for people to realize that this whole thing is orchestrated. It's like training for them, I guess, some kind of weird training. But for us, it's like you're just completely terrorized. Um, let's see.
Let me
I
see what
read almost every book by Swedenborg. He's like a 17th century mystic who said that he thought that he could visit actual hell and visit actual heaven, and wrote about it. And it's very interesting. I highly recommend. There's a book called Heaven and Hell. You might want to start with that.
Are
I
you
think probably, go ahead.
have they sent honeypots your way?
Yes. One time me and my mother went to a park by a mountain to have lunch. And right in the middle of the road, in this dirt road, there must have been like 30 beautiful women who were like 23 years old or something, were, you know, dressed nice with makeup and everything. And as soon as I saw them, I said, that's a honeypot. Like, I don't even know where I knew what a honeypot was, probably from a movie or something. But as soon as I saw it, I knew that's what it was. And then just the other day, I was at the grocery store, and this beautiful girl stands right in front of me and bends over in front of me and stuff.
No, I'm
Like,
saying,
yeah,
have they ever tried to get with you? Send a girl to try to get with you to get close, you know, to
no,
get
they never got
information.
close to me. I just see them in the, you know, but they never actually came up to me. I didn't walk up to them either. I walked away.
So are you completely isolated?
Well, I live here now. My mother's not around anymore, but my brothers live here, and I don't know if they believe me or not, but they want to help me, so I'm grateful for that. And I
That's
think I
good.
wanted to have my brother actually talk on here to you for a minute, but he's not here now, just so that people who have family members can relate, because they go through a lot too. Everybody goes through a lot with this. It's a
Yeah.
big, crazy, insane thing.
Well, you're blessed to have your brothers, though. At least they are here
But
there
I
for
think
you.
we need to be there for each other too, because I'm probably the only person, or you're the only person I've talked to who really knows what I've been through, and I know what you've been through. And somehow we have to try and. I had a group on Facebook I just made up, and I was going to tell people to go there, and so that I would be able to talk to people a little bit, and maybe
Yeah.
I could help or share ideas about spiritual exercises you could do or whatever. And
Right. I looked for that
the
group
name of
and I
that
couldn't
group,
find it.
the name of that group is Esoteric TI.
Okay. All right. I thought it was I was looking at the wrong
No, it
group.
was I changed the name. the
Okay.
first the first name was Psychic
Psychic
Assassins of the
Assassin.
Trinity, which I thought sounded kind of cool, but it's too weird. I'm a poet, so, and I think everybody should try and write poetry, because it's a good way to just get any ideas going on in your head. You can describe stuff, just jot down, you know, make it like a poem where you're just, and imagine if if they found a big box in Auschwitz and it was full of poems written by the people who were there. It'd be the most valuable thing in the world, you know. And someday people will hopefully will realize what happened to us, and you know, and realize, oh my God, these people went through so much hell. And all these art I made while being blasted with this insanity.
And did you ever go through any smear campaigns where they spread rumors and lies about you?
I believe so, but I don't know, because I haven't talked to any of my friends that much since this happened.
They
It's been
just
like 10
totally
years
they
now.
just totally
So,
disowned you, huh?
well, I don't know. Trying to get them to take a closer look at what I'm saying, and just try and be a friend and be a supportive of someone who's suffering. Whatever you think it is, we are suffering more than anybody else in the world, I think.
Right.
I
And it
mean, what could be
helps
worse than this?
to
Even
talk to
if a
other
shark bit
TIs.
your arm off, you'd be like, you could go to the doctor and get it sewn up. But this is just like constant torture.
Yeah, and it helps when you can talk to other real TIs who are going through it and who understand, because you know you feel like, wow, these people actually I can relate to this person. You know, it
And
kind
we're
of
all going through the same thing, pretty
yeah.
much. So how do you explain that too? There's a lot of stuff that that I
Yeah,
think
you
we
got
need
all
to
these
hold
people,
people
all of
accountable.
us saying we're going through this, and you got people doubting it. Like, how are you going to doubt hundreds of thousands of people saying they're dealing with this, you know?
And it's happening all over the world.
Yep.
I mean, I think people think that maybe it's like you see something on YouTube and then you take up whatever you're hearing and you start to believe it. That's not it at all. Not even close. I had never even heard of any of this shit.
How did you
You
find
know,
out about targeting? What a target
it
individual
took me
was?
like during the first 5 months, I was getting so bombarded so hard, I couldn't even open my computer to look it up. So finally, after like 5 months, I looked it up. I didn't see anything. It took me to a psychiatrist website. So then a couple months later, I looked again, and then I found it. I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. They know that this is real, but then nobody believes you. So it's,
Right.
I think what you were talking to Onion Head Andrew, he's great. I love that guy. I mean, he had a lot of good news for us, and just trying to get your body alkaline. That
Yeah, and
helps
I've
a
been
lot.
doing the excuse me, I've been doing garlic,
Yeah, me too.
pressing garlic and doing it twice a day.
Oh, good.
And now I noticed I do have a lot more energy than I have been having.
Yep. And you can just chop it up and swallow it too if you want. If you don't
Yeah.
like the taste of it.
But the good thing, you want to get a presser because when you press it, it gets something called allicin.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's the
okay.
main ingredient in there that really does it. So you want to, even if you got to just lay it on the table and you know, you can smack it with a you know, I don't know what you would call it, like one of the meat tenderizer. Just smack it real hard or something, and
Okay.
it'll press that allicin out of it.
Okay.
Or you can
I'll
chew it
remember that.
up,
Yeah.
but chewing it up is going to burn your mouth.
Well, a little bit. What else do I want to say?
You experience direct energy attacks pretty, pretty,
Yeah,
pretty,
it's just in the last, actually, since my mother died, they've gotten way less. So I don't know. Maybe they feel sorry for me or something. I don't know. And then when I was going to do this interview with you before, but it didn't work out, they were hitting me so hard I was throwing up nonstop, just throwing up.
wow.
I thought I was going to die. Um,
And so they hit you, they make you real nauseated when they hit you.
yep, you get
Me
super
too.
not that nauseous feeling is like the worst feeling because you know it's coming. It's just going to get worse and worse. Um, you know, a lot of people have bad faith towards us. They look at us like we're garbage or something, or like they look down on us so much. And that's a kind of narcissism. There's two kinds of narcissism. One is when you only care about what you think, and the other one is where you look at other people like they're garbage, like they don't matter. And I don't know why people look at us like that. It's like they're assuming that we are mentally ill when really we're not, or something. I don't know. And I wanted to say something also about suicide, that I wanted to commit suicide the whole time this has happened. And it's kind of like all I think about almost every day. And if a bunch of TIs got together and said, hey, let's all do this for the good of the world and let's all kill ourselves together, I'd probably do it because that would bring attention to this thing. But you know, I don't want to encourage people to commit suicide. I mean, I
That's
hope
not
people go to my group and join my group and we can talk and you know come to better solutions.
suicide is what they want us to do though. That so
That's right.
it's them winning if you commit suicide.
That's right. And that's the one thing that you don't want to give them what they want.
Yeah.
They want you to be terrorized and fearful and you
And
know
on the suicide thing, it's no, I mean, I cut my throat. I was gang stalked to death. I mean, I was gang stalked heavily, heavily thought, I mean, I was freaking out very bad. And I took a knife and just started slicing my throat. I got
oh
17
man.
staples and 17 stitches.
Oh,
And then I cussed the person out that saved me because I wanted to die. You know, I really wanted to die and I didn't die. and then I cut my wrist. I stayed in the room and I cut my wrist for like 3 hours straight. And
Wow.
I was bleeding and I was writing on the walls, crazy stuff with blood. So
Yeah,
anyway,
dude.
I had to get 14 stitches in my wrist. I was
Oh,
standing in a shoe full of blood. And then I took a bunch of pills and tried to die. I went in a parking garage, underground parking garage in Des Moines, Iowa, and I took a bunch of pills, Haldol and Ativan, and after I took them, I started walking around like it ain't nothing, like I didn't do nothing. Well, they ended up finding me. Some person found me on the steps of a federal building, completely passed out. I stayed in a coma 5 days. Matter of fact, they said I was brain dead, and my dad was on his way to pull the plug. Well, when I came out of the coma, I ripped my catheter out. I was freaking out. I
oh
didn't know
my
I'd been
God.
out 5 days. I'm arguing with the doctor saying I haven't been out 5 days. And he showed me, yeah, you have. You were almost brain dead, practically brain dead, and you just started coming to. You better thank God. Um, your dad's on the way to pull the plug. So anyway, I checked myself out AMA before he even got there. I didn't want to talk to him. I was mad at the world, because this gang stalking stuff, it
Yep.
and
It makes you crazy. It makes
terrorizing.
you very angry.
So suicide really ain't the way to go. They want that. And
Yeah.
so I got to, I tried it 3 different times, like really tried it and lived. So I'm like, man,
It's hard. It's
even when,
harder to kill yourself than you think.
yeah,
I mean, it takes a lot of guts and it's just hard. And
yeah, because I was cutting my wrist straight down and I was cutting it hard.
damn.
And my blood and I don't know what was going on, but I kept pouring blood, but it kept clotting up when it came to pouring a lot of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, I lost a lot of blood. Matter of fact, when I cut my throat and cut my wrist, and I'm not trying to gross nobody out. This is reality. This is what it made me do. I didn't care about it.
Yes.
And I got blood transfusions both times.
Wow.
That's how much blood I lost.
That's amazing, dude. Well,
So
you must be here
suicide
for a
is,
reason, man.
they may put that they had that, they want to get you there, and that's what they want.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't do it.
No, I don't think I will, but you never know. I mean, the pain sometimes is so great that you feel like
Oh, I
I
know.
can't take this anymore, Um,
Do you
oh, here's
uh
another book I wanted to mention is Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. He was in a concentration camp. And he's a great book. You should really read
what's
that.
his name?
Viktor Frankl.
Okay.
It's called Man's Search for Meaning.
I read one by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, The
That sounds
Cost of
familiar.
Discipleship.
Huh.
Yeah, he was in a concentration camp.
Oh, good. Well, I'll have to read that one too then, because that's kind of where we're at in the world right now. I think if people just look around at what's happening in the world, you can tell something's going on. I mean, something very bad is happening and it keeps getting worse and worse. So I think before long, I'm hoping that people will realize this is a real thing because they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing this. There's too much money in it. They have to test their weapons out or whatever. They have to know what they're dealing with and everything. But when you turn to evil, then you made a choice to harm another person. And
Yeah, and they're doing that weather modification stuff too. And I'm
yeah,
just going to bring this up because I've had people in other parts of America say that they don't know what's going on in North Carolina. Well, North Carolina and East Tennessee got hit with a hurricane last week, and 5 or 6 towns are not even there no more. Thousands of people have died.
oh
The
yeah, it's
media, the
incredible.
media is saying 200 people died. No, there's 13,000 people missing.
Oh
So if you get a chance, look up North Carolina flood. Chimney Rock, Asheville, wiped off the map, like
wow.
catastrophic Noah's Ark type flooding. And
Yeah, they also do stuff with
FEMA was out there, and FEMA was telling people they couldn't help or they would get arrested and stuff like that. It's just crazy, man. And So just pray for them families if you're a person of prayer, because you know there's people that lost their whole families and they're finding bodies in trees, kids' bodies in trees,
Uh,
thousands of people washed up. Yeah, it's horrible. Have you
and
heard about it?
yeah, but where's
Okay.
the government to get in there? And it's like they just suck at everything they do. They're just not good at anything except doing evil. I think I would not vote for any of those people. With anybody, we need to realize that there's some terrible thing is happening in the world right now, and it's got to stop. It's not who you vote for. It's like people need to start getting really serious about when you see something evil, you've got to speak out about it and say, tell people what's happening. And I hope other TIs come on your show and talk about it too, because that's helped
Yeah.
me out a lot.
Has this affected your health in any way?
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not even going to live too much longer, really, because it's put me through so much pain and suffering and everything. But I'm trying to be really healthy now, and I'm on a starvation diet, and I just eat like a smoothie every other day or something, and that's about it. Or
Right.
I'll eat a ramen noodles or something.
Do you exercise?
Not too much, because if I go out, I
You
think they're
getting
going to break
stalked?
into my apartment, or I'll see weird, um, uh, like trucks coming in. Or I don't know what's
Yeah.
going
If
on
you
with
leave
that.
your house, they come in your house and mess with stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
My microwave, when I opened my microwave, it turned on. So I'm like, what the hell?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had the guy come out and replace it. But and when the guy came, like, I can read people really well now. Like I can tell if somebody's a good person or a bad person, or if they're looking at me in bad faith or whatever. I'm acutely aware of what's going on in other people around me. I don't know what that's about, but
So you have good discernment.
I think because we're going through so much, it's there's stuff is happening that they don't know what's happening to us, and we don't know what's happening to us. I think we have to become super spiritual beings, and we just have to go as far into that as we possibly can go, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, because when you're isolated, you have nowhere to go but God.
yep, that's right.
And then some TIs have got so mad at God they don't believe that God's real because how could this exist?
Yeah,
How
I mean,
could
I can
God let
understand.
something like this happen? You know, but if you look at the Bible, and I'm not trying to push my belief on anybody, but for me, you know, I was that way. I was like, how could any of this exist if there's a God, you know? And then I got to looking at Christ and his followers, and, you know, they all suffered horrible deaths for
They
Christ.
did. That's right.
So I was
The
like, well,
apostles, the apostles themselves suffered unbelievable.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just I think we come to this earth to and God's making us into angels or something, you know.
And, you know, part of the matrix is, you know, keep you busy. You're working, you're paying bills, then you're eating supper, and then you're tired. When, you know, when you they took that out of everybody instead of finding their spiritual path and having time to do that. They don't have time to do that because they're paying bills, working, they're busy. They have no time to get in touch with themselves, find out their spiritual path. You know what I'm saying? That's what the matrix does. Busy, busy, busy.
Yep, that's right.
No time to look inward
Yep,
and
that's right.
reflect on who you really are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me see.
oh,
Have you?
they got me sleepwalking too.
Oh yeah.
You do
They
that?
they they do. Well, we've done it
I've
3 or 4
never sleepwalked in
times.
my life, and now I get up and walk all around until I bump into a wall and wake up.
Yeah,
I
I
always thought
came.
I thought they were trying to get me to do something.
What did you do anything crazy when you slept walk?
No, but I
Oh,
think that was the point of it, was to see, can we make this person do what we want?
yeah, they'll make you talk in your sleep. And it like Holly told me one day, she's like, David, did you know last night I had to come in the kitchen and get you you were looking for vegetables in cabinets and stuff like that, and said you were fixing to cook vegetables. And I said, "What?" And they said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah." And you had the frying pan turned on, and you had a piece of pizza in the frying pan. I had to come in there and turn it off.
I've done stuff like
And
that before.
and I was like, "No, I didn't believe her." Well, 2 weeks later, I went to put something in the oven, and there was a plastic container full of broccoli in the oven. Just imagine if I would have turned that on.
Oh man.
And I didn't remember it. So there was a couple, that went on for about 2 months. They were making me talk in my sleep, say crazy stuff. I would walk. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, I believe they do that.
Yeah. And when you were talking about the weather, they also do stuff with fires. Like a couple years ago, my house, there was a huge fire, 150-mile-an-hour wind, like 10,000 people all lost their house, burned down. And my cats got left behind and they died in the fire. It was terrible.
Oh, you was in that fire?
Well, that we evacuated before the fire.
Was that in
But it makes,
Paradise?
I think they probably did that, because they could start a fire and nobody would know how they
Was that
start.
Paradise, California?
No, it's in Superior, Colorado,
Oh, okay.
about 3 years ago. And then, and then my mother died. I wonder if they had something to do with that. I don't know. My dad died also before that. And I feel like it could easily be them that they're getting rid of people. This is a big plan to take down the population.
Yeah, and try to perfect AI.
Yeah. Yeah. All the AI stuff is terrible. It gives me the sickest feeling in my stomach. Like it just looks evil to me. It looks like this is the end. This is the end of the world, probably.
Do you have any kind of message or anything you'd like to say to my viewers today as far as targeting or any tips you'd like to add to give to them?
Well, I want to encourage everybody to write poetry and post it on my group, or just write anything. But and transcribing spiritual books is a good idea, and of course, listen to Onion Head Andrew about your health because that'll make a big difference. I think that the week that he said that was the same week that I was kind of discovering the same thing myself, that you got to be completely alkaline. You got to get all the stuff they put in food now, the chemicals, you got to get all that out of your body. But can I just read a little thing real quick?
Yeah. What's it from?
This is from me. Black and white reminds me of after the holy fire where I would paint God into our hotel. Husband is smoking a cigarette outside watching the snow and the hotel lights at 4:30 in the morning. We must learn to protest like Gandhi. He was greatly influenced by Tolstoy. According to Tolstoy, there is one old and simple truth, which is, it is natural for men to help and to love one another, but not to torture and kill one another. Strengthening Gandhi's convictions of advocating nonviolent resistance. Tolstoy said, love is the only way to rescue humanity from all ills. They can't take everything from us. We have how we choose to respond. The war of the future is between good and evil. It will take place in the mind. Can we go beyond that? They don't know what they are messing with. Anything can happen. Supernatural abilities born from torture. Try to be productive, stay busy. Try to communicate the pain you feel. Someday the truth will come to us all. I promise you that. We are in prison doing time, maybe all the way to the very end. And after that, we will glow like the highest angels in heaven.
No, that was awesome.
And oh, one other thing is that
And you wrote that?
you might want to take Primatene tablets. You're having trouble breathing.
What are they called?
Primatene tablets, and that will help you get your breathing back. I don't know. I think I had other stuff to say, but I guess that's good for now.
You sure?
Yeah, you want to see some of my art?
Yeah, sure. Show us some of your art before we go.
Oh,
Oh, you got the background blurred, so you can't see the
oh,
art
darn it.
really.
Oh, well, it's not working. Oh, well. You have to go to my website.
Yeah. So your Facebook group is called Esoteric TIs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, if nobody does it, then I won't do it either. But if people go on there, then I'll start. Might encourage me to write more. And
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
that
we
was
all need
awesome.
to write more. We all need to like leave a real heartfelt message to the world, like what we're going through, and hopefully some of my old friends will realize what's happening and maybe try and talk to me or come and see me or because
Yeah,
they can
that's gotta
help too.
the isolation is awful.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for everything and for having me on your show. And you're doing a great job. And
And I'll call and chat with you sometime.
yeah, anytime,
Yeah. All right.
anytime.
Yeah, because I didn't at first, I was like, man, is this a perp or not? Because that's how we get,
I know.
and it's a shame because there's probably a lot of good people that have we've came across, but we thought they were perps
Yeah,
because
when this first happened to me, I went to a group on Facebook and somebody called me a perp, and I never went back. So
right,
yeah, it does hurt the other person a lot. And even if they are a perp, I mean, let's hear what they have to say. I think
right,
let's
because
hear it. And
it's just
they may need to hear what we have to say more than anything.
right.
Like
Well, yeah,
sometimes I'll
because I
read the
know,
Bible and I feel like I'm reading it to them. You know,
yeah. Well, I apologize. That was my fault because I was like, man, is this a perp or not? But that's what we can. That's part of this program. We get conditioned to so many mind games being played with us. We don't know who to trust.
that's right. That's right.
So I'm going to stop this recording right now. I really appreciate you coming out and hold on.